Hello, Flosstube. Remember me? It's been a very long time. In case you don't remember, I'm Barbara Johns, Stitching with Granny. Welcome to my video. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It has been exactly a year today since I did my last Flosstube, which was number 24. We're at number 25 right now. It's been a year, you guys. The last time I did a video, Lisa Smith, the Kindred Stitcher. Hi, Lisa. And if any of you came to my channel because of her recommendation or shout out, welcome. I haven't had a chance to welcome you yet because this is my first video since then. But last year my WIP parade was 4 hours and 41 minutes long. I promise you tonight it will not be that long. I'm not going to do another 4 hour. I'm not doing all my WIPs. Last year I did every single one, whether I stitched on it or not, and I'm not doing that today. I'm not doing that. We don't have that kind of time, right? Some people said they loved it because they could just stitch away and just have me playing in the background, and it was very calming and soothing. I talked to a lot of people at StitchCon that had watched it, but some people like, no, that's too long. Whatever. Take me in little doses if you have to. But anyway, thank you, Lisa, for shouting me out and telling me that I had the award for the longest floss tube in history. So, thank you. And if you came, like I said, if you came from Lisa's, welcome. Welcome to all my new subscribers since then. And those of you that have been with me from the beginning, I'm sorry I haven't been around. Lots of stuff has been going on. Just a little bit of a life update because, you know, it's been a year. I could tell you a whole lot. Last year when we spoke, I had squatters in my home. For those of you who don't know, squatters are adult children living with their mother. At the time, neither one of my boys were working. One was 24 and the other was 34. And they weren't working, and they were just at my house rent-free, and no. Mama's not doing that no more. I'm enabling them to not step up and be with the men that they need to be. And I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom for years, so I'm not doing them any favors. So I had to put my foot down and say, no job, you got to go. So they ended up, my oldest now is in training to become an executive chef. And he loves his job. It's in a Italian restaurant in a new hotel in East Lansing. He loves it. My youngest has been working for a company that cleans an huge new Amazon factory that, distribution center that's here in the Lansing area. He works for a janitorial company and he works nights. And he just got an apartment, so he's finally doing what he needs to do. Him and his girlfriend are going to have a baby in April. She also has another one that considers me a Grammy. So that will be grandbaby number 7 that I had. My daughter had a baby in July, on the 4th of July. We tried to get her to name her Liberty, but she'd already had the name Desiree picked out. So her name is Desiree Liberty LeVay. Hozak is her last name. So I call her my little firecracker. So she's really cute. She's getting big. And she's got 2 other kids. So she has decided no more. So that was another thing. I had to take her to the hospital and get her tubes tied. Her choice. I had surgery in October. I have a huge hernia that was 16 by 22 centimeters. So they had to go in and repair it. It was an incisional hernia that really has become more evident because, I don't know if you can tell from my last video, I have recently, over the past 10 months or so, lost 110 pounds. So there's a lot less of me. I'm in a really big shirt right now. But the more I lost, the more evident this incisional hernia became. So I had to have that fixed. About a week and a half later, I had to go by ambulance because there was a complication. So I was in the hospital a lot. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I was a project bag vendor at a retreat in Branson, Missouri for the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. So I took a whole bunch of stuff down there, so I had to have bags made. I've been doing a lot of stuff on my Etsy shop. Thank you for everybody who's supporting that little venture. I went to, retreats. I went to, let me think. I went to the Farm Girl Gathering in June. It was one that Michelle added, that Brenda DeGeray was the guest designer. It was in Amana. That was really, really awesome. If you ever get a chance to go to a retreat with Brenda Gervais as your designer, please do so because it was amazing, and I'll show you what we got in a little bit. Then, of course, I went to StitchCon, hanging out with all my girls. Hey, girls from StitchCon! We've gotten together in a couple of the Jingle Ball and the Midsummer Stitch, a couple of the virtual retreats we've gotten together, and able to hook up with my StitchCon girly girls. I would love to see them in person. I don't want to wait till June again. June, StitchCon, we're already ready to go. We're excited. It's not till June, but let's go now. I want to get together with you girly girls before that. Where else did I go? I went to I know I went to the I forget when it was. All these dates, because it's been a year since we've talked. I did go to the Happy Little Stitch Shop. Hello, Angela, if you watch. The Stitching with Lori Club. It's a special club. You can pay every year. I think the membership was good, and it's an annual thing. So we've started the new year. Well, that Stitching with Lori Club has a retreat every year in Madison, Wisconsin, or out in Utah. The first one was out in Utah, and Lori herself, Lori Holt, was there. The ones that we have been, the two I've been at in Madison, we have just had her virtually, and she sends along a little goodies and all of that stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So I went with that, and I'll show you some of that later. That's quilting. I'll show you some of that later. And then the punch needle, and then I did the Jingle Ball. I got my Jingle Ball shirt on. I got my Jingle Bell pants on. I ordered them, and it was no fault of the Jingle Ball issue. It was my issue. I thought I ordered them. I didn't hit pay and cash out of the screen to get the apparel. So once I realized the error of my ways, I didn't get this until the Tuesday after the Jingle Ball. So I like wearing it, so I wear it all the time. These, if you ever attend the Jingle Ball, the apparel, these shirts are the most amazing, heavy-duty, nice quality shirts, and the pants, very, very good quality. So Stephanie of Lindy Stitches, you guys knocked it out of the park again. There were 12 different designers. I'll show you some of the things, the projects that I got. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I know it's a lot of work, and there were a few little glitches and a little, but it's okay. It's okay. We got through it. It's fine. It was wonderful. So, going forward, if you ever get a chance to do a virtual retreat that Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb of Lindy Stitches puts on, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Just be patient in case there's issues, because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all jumping on at the same time, doing the same thing, and it's kind of hard to all do that. Sometimes technology doesn't cooperate, and that's not anybody's fault. It's just, it is what it is. So anyway, Jingle Ball, Midsummer Stitch, she has a bunch of them throughout the year. The Jingle Ball is the big one, the year, woo, everything at the end of the year. It's so fun. Anyway, let's jump right in. The stats, I don't really have as accurate as I would have loved to have, because I'm in a Thread the Needle Stitchery. Stacy Stitches, she does an exchange. It's a seasonal swap. Excuse me, I'm still got a cough, cold, whatever. She does a seasonal swap, and I know I participated in the winter one last year, in the spring one, the summer one, and so a lot of those projects, sometimes I'd stitch more than one thing, and it's a start and a finish, and boom, done, there you go. And I didn't keep it in all my stats. So I don't have totally accurate numbers, but I have an Excel spreadsheet that I keep all of my goodies on, and I will show you what I've been doing. We talked about this last year in my WIP Parade, but let me get used to this again. I am taking these little things, the idea I got years ago from Crazy Band Lady Stitches. Hi! She did this on her whips, and I thought, oh, I should do that. Well, not only am I putting a number, so when I work on them, I can take them out and then put them back in. I'm going to put every single one so I know what fabric. Every single one, so I know what fabric I'm using. So anyway, let's, where am I? Let's start out with, on my Excel list, I have 126 projects. 20 of those are new starts within this calendar year. I have one from that list that is a finish, and I might as well show it to you now. I think this is called Easter WIP Parade, I think. And I may have shown this to you before. I don't know. Who knows? Because I don't know when it was I finished it. I just know it's finished. And then here's the back. I put my little label on that I put on my project bags that I make. Put a little pin with some little Lori Holt buttons, and this is how I covered the seam for where I sew it and stitch it or whatever. But there is my finish, and I got some chenille trim around the edges, and I'm sorry, these lights are blowing things out. I have my Grammy hat on to try to like cover my glasses, the glare on my glasses, but this light, it's not the best light. So I'm going to, this is my finish that was on that list, so hold please. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to get a cough syrup or cough drop because I just had a coughing fit. I turned some more lights on in the rest of the room, so hopefully the light situation will be a little bit better. But I'm going to show you a couple more previous finishes. This one I stitched. It was going to be one of the gifts for my Halloween seasonal swap with Stacy Stitches group, but I ended up going a totally different direction for my person. And so I have this. It's all done and ready to go. And this one I do have open at the bottom, but it's going to be a little pillow. I'm going to stuff it. And I think this is a primrose stitch, and it's on a, you can't tell because it's washing it out, but that is a pink fabric. It's pink like my hat. Not that dark, but it's a pink. It's pink, trust me, it's pink. You can't really tell this camera. It's pink. So anyway, that's a pillow I need to finish. Here's a previous finish. I don't know if I've ever shown you this, guys. It's been a long time. It's been in my kitchen, so it's not like around where I have some of my other finishes or gifts like this one. That's Teresa Kogut's Create Everyday logo. That is a book, covered book with a punch needle that Teresa gifted to me. That is my first, I think the first year at StitchCon. That was a gift from StitchCon. This was my spring gift, seasonal gift from that seasonal swap. This is one of the very first finishes I ever did years ago. That is a Stitching with the Housewives sunflower one, but it fell down. And then here's a whole bunch of my bird pillows that heart and hand. The cuckoo bird, the red bird sampler, the bluebird sampler. There's the fall one. I forget what it's called. This is the Brenda Gervais fall. Be thankful. There's a drum that I got as a gift at the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine retreat is right there. That's my StitchCon gift from a fall exchange at StitchCon. This is another gift that I got at a Stitch Etc. retreat. That's something I made from Stitch Etc. That's another not Primrose, Stitching with the Housewives pattern. That's another Stitching with the Housewives pattern that I did. And there's Christmas up there. That's a question I have for you guys. Put your comments in down below. What do you guys do with your stitches that are not in season? Like, I had all my Christmas stuff out, but I had so many fall projects and Halloween projects. What do you do with them? Do you pack them in a box and pack them away until that season? I'm trying to figure out a way I can display and keep, I think there's pictures in the intro, that I want to display all of these stitches. I want to see them all year. Especially the ones like these that are gifts that I've received in swaps. I don't want to pack those away and only see them when it's fall. You know what I'm saying? So tell me in the comments below, what do you guys do with all of your stitches that are not in the current season? Do you keep them out? I have my patriotic, my whole living room is on that side of the camera. And my theme in here is Americana anyway, so those stay out all year. Some of the stuff on the wall I take down when I put my Christmas stuff up on the wall, but what do you guys do all year? I'm in a dilemma because I've got so many finishes now. What do you do with them all? So this is one that I was trying to teach myself how to stitch in hand. And I think this is either a 25 or a 28 count Lugana. And it's a heart and hand coffee bird. And I stitched it all in hand, trying to teach myself how to stitch in hand. And then it's got little, you know, rick-rack on the edges. I did not do anything to the back of this. It's a hot mess. There's no walnut shells. This is just polyfill. But I just keep this in my coffee area. I have a coffee station. In my, what should be the dining room, but this is my dining room that I use. That's split. It's like a great room with the living room on one side, dining room on the other. And my office is over there because I work from home. I'm so blessed still to be able to work full-time from home. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I love it. Anyway, so here's Stitchy Bird Coffee. I have the quilting one, the stitching one, the, I don't know, whatever else one. But this was the only one that I've done, but I've got a lot of the patterns. So, have any of you stitched any of these birds? This was a freebie from Cherry Hill Stitchery, and unfortunately, she's no longer doing patterns anymore. She's taken her crafty endeavors and whatever and gone in another whole direction. So, I don't know if you can still get this. It was in her Facebook group. I don't know if she still has her Facebook group out. But this was the Happy Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh, it's blowing it out. This is also, it's pink. And it's got a lot of turquoise in it, but you can't really see it. I apologize for this lighting situation. There you go. You can see the colors a little. It's blurry, but now you can see the colors. And I got some sewing pins that I popped in there. But now you can see the color of the floss. But it's, again, on a light pink. 28 count Monaco that I dyed pink. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Okay, so when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for the Halloween exchange, I showed you this one was one of the ideas. Then I stitched this up really quick, and I thought, oh, this is cute. I want to keep it. And so I reached out to my recipient, and if you're watching, hi. I saw that you subscribed. She's a coffee drinker, and so I went a whole different route with coffee, Halloween wicked coffee themes. So then I kept this one, and I found this board that just had this pumpkin and this guy. It's metal. I found this at Dollar General. And so this is Booze, Hisses, and Halloween Kisses from Primrose. Stitched with the called for colors, I believe. I might have used Sulky, actually. And this is on a 28 count Monaco that I dyed black. And so there's a finish. Isn't it cute? I found a bunch of these. I've had them for a long time, floating around in my stuff upstairs in my storage room that I made a storage room so I won't have squatters living in it. Anyway, so I put this all together and glued this on. This is already here. This pumpkin came with it, so I filled it so you could, couldn't see the stems. I put some polyfill and a piece of fabric in there, and then just glued the rest of the stuff on. Isn't it cute? I think it turned out so cute. So I can't wait to hang him up next year at Halloween. I don't have a ton of Halloween stuff. Okay, so those are some previous finishes and finishes from this year. I won't go into detail too much because we got lots to talk about. Okay, so as far as my whips, like I said, I'm not going to make you sit through 4 hours of more whips. I'm not going to do that. A lot of them I have not touched. So I'm going to kind of go quickly through some of the whips that I did work on. Then I'm going to go through, I got a box here to my side. I'm going to talk about the 20 new starts that I have, and I'll show you all of those. I'm going to show you over here on this side, I'm going to show you winter stitching that I'm going to be doing in January. And then throughout the rest of the year, till at least 4th of July, because it's our country's big 250th birthday, whatever, super sexagennial, whatever, however you say it. So I have a whole stack of my patriotic stuff that I'm going to show you that I want to work on this year, by summertime. I'm under no false illusion that I'm going to get any of those done, but I want to put some progress into them. So next year, next WIP Parade, I'm going to have more done, okay? Then we're going to talk about all the things, because I don't know about you, but there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people who are stitchers are also quilters, or quilters who have now become stitchers. Okay, I talk about cooking. I love to cook and bake, and people are like, oh, when I put stuff on my social media, Instagram and Facebook, oh, can I have your recipe? So I've started filming some cooking videos. I dye, like I talked about. Here's one of my whips I'll show you right now. This is Booze, Hisses, and Cross Stitch. Booze, Hisses, and Cross Stitches is Primrose. Another one of theirs. So I'm working on this, and I think I'm using Sulky. This is a variegated Sulky. Anyway, this is the black Monaco that I dyed. A lot of people are saying, oh, do a tutorial. Well, guess what? I filmed a tutorial on dyeing, how I dye my 28 count Monaco. Before the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine, when I had a vendor booth, not only did I take project bags, but I dyed a bunch of that fabric, and I took that down with me too. So I have a bunch of it that I've bagged up into these little bags that say thank you. So I'm going to be giving away some of this stuff, and you're going to see more of this as I go through my projects. But I might start listing this stuff on my Etsy as well. So if anybody's interested in 28 count Monaco that is black, 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 black. It's very black. If anybody's interested, a lot of the, not Primrose, but Stitching with the Housewives. I don't know why I keep, Stitching with the Housewives, when they stitch on their black, because it's like chalkboard, that's what I use the black for, and it pops. The colors just pop on it. So I'm going to be starting to list some of this stuff on my Etsy. So let me know in the comments if you're interested. Okay, so here's the first one. Like I said, it is, I believe it's Primrose Cottage Stitches, Booze, Hisses, and Cross Stitches. And I've just got this little bit over here to do, and I think there's more, like a spool, a couple spools around, and that will be done. So there's that one. Another whip that I did, and I know that there was probably more earlier in the year that I worked on, but a lot of the stitching that I did, I don't know. I have been so bad about writing it down. My whip go last year, out the window, no. I haven't done my chart yet. And my whip go, the most success I've had doing it, and for those of you that don't know, Whip Go is Jessie Marie Does Stuff on Facebook. She has a ton of information on it. How it works, a tutorial about how to set up your board. It's like bingo. So you get 25 spots. The 13 spot in the middle, some people do a freebie, some people put another project. So 1 month there'll be 3 numbers called. The rest of the year there's 2 numbers called. And so you create a board. You can do stitching a specific project. You can do clean your craft room or a new start or whatever. It's your board, your rules, okay? When I did it before, I put down a specific project and I said I wanted to work 10 days on that project. That's too much. I defeated myself before I could even get started. So also, if you put down, for me, other people might find this helpful for them, but for me, if I put down a specific project, let's say, and this is what I'm going to show you as a WIP next. Let's say I put this project as a WIP, because it is, and I put this, and it's called in April. Okay, well, maybe I don't feel like I'm a seasonal stitcher. If it's April, I want to do bunnies and spring and flowers and Easter and, you know, I want to stitch something in the season. I'm not going to want to stitch this. So for me, the way I found it most helpful, and I think this was 2 years ago when I did WIP Go, is instead of putting a project, I just put the designer. So I put Teresa Kogut. So if in January Teresa Kogut is called, I don't have to stitch Halloween. I can stitch a snowman that is a Teresa Kogut pattern. Whether it's a WIP or a start or whatever. Most of them, I need to get my WIPs out. So I'm really not going to start a start unless I'm not. I can't. I got to get these WIPs out. So anyway, I'm going to do just designers. And if I have 125 WIPs out there to choose from, some of those WIPs, by the way, I'm going to go through and I am going to pick some of them that may become UFOs. I don't know. I don't really know if, you know, my likes and my, you know, whatever's changed. And I think I talked about that last year in my 4-hour and 41-minute WIP Parade, that, you know, a lot of people, when they start stitching or get back into stitching, they start with the Adas and they start with the, you know, 16, 18 count, whatever. And if that's you, if that's where you live right now, if that's where you stay, and you want 14 count Ada, that is great for you. If that is your happy spot, because this is supposed to be a happy hobby, an enjoyable time. If you don't like stitching on linen, don't force yourself to stitch on linen, because then you're not going to be happy and you're not going to enjoy this wonderful craft that we have. Stitch what you love on what you love so you love it. My sweet spot right now is 46 count, and you're going to see in here a lot of what I started is 46 and 56 count, because that's my sweet spot. That's what I like. That doesn't mean I'm better and more advanced and whatever. No. If you 14 count is where you live, where you stay, where you're happy, please do what makes you happy. That's the whole point of this craft. Do what makes you happy. Okay? And if I ever have said anything to make people feel less than because I talk about my happy spot and not Ada, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I don't mean to offend anybody or make you feel less than, because you're stitching and you're stitching on what's happy, and that's what is important. I love you guys all, so please, if anybody's offended by what I said about stitching on Ada, please don't be. I love you all. Stitch on what makes you happy. Okay, phew, I'm off that soapbox now. Okay, I don't want anybody to feel less than. This is all a wonderful craft that we all love. Okay, so back to this. This was in Teresa Kogut's Patreon in 2022 in August, and it's called Mischief Brewing. And I don't know honestly, if I'm going to do the whole thing, I may just go down to about here, or I may stitch this and maybe add a couple of these on each side and make a drum out of this part of it. But so far, here's what I got. And this is on a very light shade of lavender. Oh, it's showing up very good. Okay, so this is a 28 count Monaco, and this is a lavender that I've dyed, and I'm stitching it over one with one strand of DMC or whatever she called for, whatever the called for floss is. I'm not really sure what she called for on that, but there it is. I love it. Teresa is so stinking talented. Hi, Teresa. Anyway, so that is Mystic Brewing. I didn't get a ton of time on that. I think I stitched on it. My surgery was the 27th of October. I think I was in the hospital 2 days, I think, that time. And then a week and a half later, I had to go by ambulance because I had a complication, a blockage, and it was painful. Oh, I thought, Anyway, that was all taken care of. I'm good now. But I didn't get a whole lot of stitching, and I think I might have stitched on this after I got home from the hospital. So I'm just going to toss those that way. Okay? All right. Here's another thing. I think I started this one at one of the Farm Girl retreats. The very first fall one that I went to, when they had it at Amana at the Price Creek, I think it's called, at that not convention center, but event center. The past 2 times it was at the Millwright Hotel. So this was the first one I went to that was at that event center. And Cindy Mosley, hi honey, I have not talked to you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great holiday season. I started this when I was at that retreat and was a roomie with her. So, hi Cindy, I hope you're doing well. Anyway, this is the Prairie Schooler that I started, and excuse my nails, I went and had them done, and the very first day, it messed up this pointer finger. So, I started this at that retreat in the fall. It was the fall Farm Girl, and I'm doing this on, it's on the label. Let me look at the tag because I can tell you exactly. This is a 40 count vellum by Picture This Plus. See how handy that is? See how handy that is? Okay, friends. There's my advice for you today. Especially if you're a floss tuber, because you know people are going to ask, oh, what are you stitching that Prairie Schooler on? You know they're going to ask. So, it's a good way to keep track of it. So here's how far I am. I did not iron this year. Remember last year, if you saw the 4-hour, I ironed everything and had them all out of their bags and ironed and had board. Girl, this is how far I am. Not very far. But it's a fall. When I feel like stitching fall, I always want to pull this one out. Something about Prairie Schoolers, and I'm telling you right now, I never, ever, and never, ever will change the colors on a Prairie Schooler. I don't know why. I don't know who the designer is of Prairie Schoolers, but they got it going on. I love the colors, the way they go together, especially, and you'll see in a little bit, I'm going to get to it in a couple bags, the Prairie Schooler Santas. You don't change the color of a Prairie Schooler. That's just my opinion. You might have a different opinion, but that's just me. The colors, they're so good. Those designers are so good. Anyway, also, I have stopped using Q-snaps. I used to use Q-snaps all the time. Right now, I'm just using these plain old hoops from Hobby Lobby, and I'll tell you why. There's a groove. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. See how there's a little groove right there? And then on the receiving end, there's a track that those little grooves sit in here. And once you get your fabric in there and you tighten it up, nice and snug. I don't have a problem with it getting loose and having to put the stuff in there and having the... Debbie, if you're watching, I got a whole big box of Q-snaps for you, girl. They're coming to you. So anyway, this is my recommendation of hoop. Go to Hobby Lobby and get yourself some. They're really good, and there's all different sizes. So that's all I use now when I use a hoop. Sometimes I stitch in hand. I'm getting better at that, but not on the 46 and 56 count. I gotta have it drum tight. So I didn't do a whole lot of stitching on this. This is the Bells on Christmas Day. I started this at the first Farm Girl Dry Goods retreat that Teresa Vanette, hi Teresa if you're watching, she was our designer, and she did the Peace on Earth, the beautiful project that's out, released now, that people can stitch on now. They can purchase it now. I haven't started that kit. It's still hanging, or not hanging, but it's on my IKEA shelving unit, and it's just displayed very beautiful in the box because I haven't started it yet. So anyway, this was my start at that retreat, and I didn't get a whole lot of work on it since then, but it's the Bells on Christmas Day by Blackbird Design, and I'm doing this one. And I'm stitching this on, because I'm consulting with my tag, I'm stitching this on a 40 count Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. And I don't have a whole lot done. I just love the colors on this, and I want to get them all done, but I just don't make the time to stitch as much as I should. So this is how far I got. And no, I haven't pressed them, but you get the idea. So that is the Bells on Christmas Day. I love that stitch, and hopefully I'm using all the called for colors. This is a beautiful project bag that we got from an attendee that was sitting across from me that year. And it's basically the same type of bag that Garan Stitchery, Gary and Ronnie, that Ronnie makes. And it's really fully finished, or fully lined. It's a really nice bag. And so because I started that there, I keep it in the wonderful project bag that we got from just a table mate that sat across from us. Okay, a lot of you have seen these. These I can pretty much stitch in hand if I want. I can stitch them without having my clip-on mags and my magnifying light. I can have one or the other if it's a good light. So this is like travel projects that I take with me. When my daughter had her, got her tubes tied, I took it there. When I was in the hospital, I had this bag of goodies with me, so I stitched on it when I was in the hospital. So I take it with me quite a bit. And it is, of course, our Prairie Schooler Santas. So I'm going to quickly show you the ones that I have finished. What my plan is to take them, these are all on 28 count Monaco that I tea-dyed. My plan is to do like a flat fold type of flat finish, and I'm going to put this on the back of each one, and I'm making them ornaments for my Christmas tree, and hopefully I'm going to have all of them on my Christmas tree. So I was talking to some friends. Hi, Dottie. Some friends that I was talking to during the Jingle Ball when I was stitching these and showing them. I was going to wait till I had them all done. And you know they started in 1984. And the new one for 2026 is going to be released. You know, it's the 42nd. I don't know. Do the math really quick. There are a lot of years. So I was going to wait till I get them all done because I'm doing them in order. Started in 1984. And I was going to wait till they were all done to then finish them and put them on my tree. But guess what? I'm not going to do that. I am going to finish the ones that I already have stitched. And I'm going to film a tutorial and I'm going to share it with you. Now, we all know Vanna Pfeiffer, and bless her heart, she has not been on social media. She's taken all of her wealth of knowledge, her freely given knowledge that she gave us about finishing. She took all of that down. I don't know all the details about what happened, but Vanna, if you watch Flosstube still, if you happen to see this, we miss you. I miss you. And I learned a lot from you. So I don't want to get emotional. You got to do what you got to do for your peace and your mental. And, you know, I think when we as Flosstubers or anybody that puts ourselves out in social media, we open ourselves up for criticism. And some people can take it and some people can't. And I've been the victim more than once of not so nice people. And, you know, we kind of have to grow a thick skin because it is what it is. But Vanna, if you're watching, I miss you and thank you. Thank you for all the years of the wealth of knowledge that you did share with us when you did. And I hope that you and your family is doing well and that someday you may come back because the community really misses you. So I don't want to get emotional because I can. I will. It just breaks my heart that people can be so mean. And I don't even know the details of exactly what happened, what caused her to, you know, withdraw and remove herself. But I just know I've seen how people treat people, and I've been a recipient of that. And there's no excuse. There's no reason for it in this community. We're all adults. Let's act like it. Okay, so second soapbox I'm on. Let me get going. Okay, let's go. Happy times. Okay, so here's 84, and I might not have the exact years right. 85 or so, 86 or so, 87 or so, 88, and not like I said, I might not have them in the exact orders, but I know this is 89. I know for a fact that's 89. And I got something on it. That's 89. And I'm almost done with 90. Whoopsie. I'm almost stabbing myself. Hang on. Let me just put that in there so I don't stab myself. And then there's 90. Almost done. So I am going to continue on with that. And hopefully, once I have enough room, I think, on this. I'm going to do 2 more. So 90, 91, and 92. So I'll have 84 through 92. And I'm going to do a finishing tutorial on how I'm going to be finishing. Excuse me. I have got tears, and I got tears on my eyes, on my glasses. Excuse me just a second. So I'm going to do a tutorial, and we're going to talk about how to finish these and make ornaments so that next year at Christmas I can have them on my tree, and you will also have a tutorial. Now, there's a lot of people doing tutorials on finishing. I know Helen D. Hi, Helen, if you watch me. I know she does a lot of them as well. She's very good. I can't think off the top of my head who else does them right now off the top of my head, but there's a lot of information out there. Just search finishing tutorials, you're going to find it. So that is Prairie Schooler Santas, and like I said, I will always have some of these on the go at all times. At one point, my ambition, I was trying to do 2 a month so that I could get them all done, but that didn't happen. So whenever I work on them, I work on them. No pressure, right? This is a no pressure zone. It's supposed to be a happy, wonderfully calming, relaxing hobby, right? Oh, okay. So I also pulled out the 12 Days of Christmas Stockings by Miss Annie Bees. I love Annie. Hi, Annie. We gotta talk, but hi, Annie. These are so cute. These came out at Market, not this past year, I believe, but the year before. So again, she has it called for I think 14 count, oh, let's see, 14 count black Ada. Well, if you know, 14 count is the same as 28 count over 2. And so 14 count is over 1. So I decided again, I'm going to dye a bunch of black 28 count Monaco that I dyed black. And I was able to get the first stocking complete. And then this year I was working on, this is a needle. This is as far as I've gotten on number 2. And I love the colors. They're so beautiful. Let me see if number 2, if I can show you a picture without, oh, this is kind of hard. Because I don't want to show you the pattern. That's what number 2 is, the 2 turtle doves. And that's where I'm at. So there's that. So those, I got a long way to go on those. And here's Annie and her 2 daughters. They're so stinking cute. Their floss tubes are really funny because, you know, the mother-daughter banter back and forth. And if you'll see in a minute in one of my starts, they were at the Jingle Ball. They were the designers, guest designers, one of the 12 that were at the Jingle Ball, and she did the Christmas pears, and her and Bella did the class, and they were so cute. They were so fun. So thank you, ladies. It was a lot of fun watching you and listening to you. It was so fun. We had such a good time, and I'm glad I took that thing. Hang on just a second. Oh, here we go. This is a bag that we got. I'm just going to pull it out because it's too cute. I think it was a freebie that we got maybe the first year. First or second year. One of the years at the, it was the first year we were at the Millwright when Teresa Vanette did her Christmassy Peace on Earth. This was a Christmas project bag that we got from Denise at Dot Dot Goose. Hi, Denise. How are you, honey? Hope you're doing well. And she does her little pals or whatever she calls it, the thread beds that go with that. This was somewhere else, and now I just realized that it went with this because it's got the same fabric. So now I'm going to put it with it. So, Denise, I hope you're doing well, and I'd love to see you again. Let me put these away to make sure everything goes back where it belongs. So that is, I'll zip it up later. I'll just make sure everything's in it. So there's that one. Another one I worked on, this one I've had for quite a while. It is number 23 out of 126. You know it's been started a long time ago. And remember last year, those of you that watched the 4-hour WIP Parade, remember I was turning 60 and I wanted 60 finishes by the time I turned 60. We all know that didn't happen because it would have cut my WIPs in half, and it didn't. So it's still a plan, but it's not going to happen, obviously. So anyway, this is how far I've gotten. I was able to get a lot of the snow in. I had to change the white that I was using because it wasn't showing up. So now that I got the white to show up, I'm pretty happy. I believe I'm using Anchor white, and that's what's showing up. And I don't know what happened to all the rest of the floss. Oh, it's right here. Here's the rest of the floss. And what is the pattern, you're asking? Well, let me show you. This is Cottage Garden sampling, and it's Peace on Earth. And I know you guys have, a lot of you have seen it. It's been around for a number of years. It was out in 2019. I got back into stitching in 2020. And I think I started this once I first got into stitching. And found Flosstube and found all the things. So, here you go. And not a ton left. not a ton left. So I'll be happy to get this done. So there you go. It's Peace on Earth. Cottage Garden Sampling. And I love this. I'm stitching it on a 40 count water green. And it's just a Zweigert. It's not like, you know, our fabric dyers. It's not a Fiber on a Whim or Bestitch Me or whatever. It's just Zweigert. And I think I got it at Mo's Needle and Thread in Portland, Michigan. And it is in a project bag that I made years ago when I first started making bags. And I've come a long way since making bags. But this is Lori Holt's Cozy Christmas bag or fabric line. And so it's kind of a small one. But I love it. I love it. It's so fun. So there's that one. Now this one is another WIP that I worked on. I know there are other WIPs that I've worked on, but I'm not going to get them, dig them out. I'm just going to show you these few that I know I stitched on. And then I got a hanging thread here, so hang on just a minute. Let me get my needle to the back and my hanging thread. This one is in the Home for the Holidays, I think, is the name of the book. It is a pattern by Blackbird Designs. And I know you guys have seen it. It's been around for a long time. And it's the Christmas Garden. And there are only 4 colors on this. And I have had the most difficult time picking colors. I've started this over 2 or 3 times. I'm stitching it on a 40 count Moon Shadow by Seraphim. And I ended up going with, like I said, there's only 4 colors. I'm stitching Toffee is the goldish color. Then there's a brownish color. I'm going with Classic Colorworks Wagon Wheel. And then you need a red and a green. And so my red is Cayenne, which is Weeks Dye Works. Oh, look how variegated that shows up there. It's not really that variegated, but man, when you look at it there, it looks like a lot of variegation. It's not as bad as that. Well, it's not bad. It's not as variegated when you look at it when it's stitched. So that's that one. And then my green is Brenda Gervais' favorite green. Does anybody have a guess? Yep, you guessed it, Oscar. That's the green that I'm using. So far, here's what we have. So I think that those 4 colors on this particular fabric is gonna look really good. And I just can't wait to get it moving. So if I ever feel like in the mood to do Christmas, I may just leave this out, or I won't leave it out because it'll be in order. It's number 97. And it is stitched on 40 count Moon Shadow by Seraphim because it's on my tag. So anyway, that is the Christmas Garden. How many of you guys have stitched this? I know it's been around for a while. It was released on its own years ago, but then it was part of the Home for Christmas book that was released in maybe 2020, 2021, something like that. So you need to see it. All right, let's get comfy because here we go. 20 new starts in 2025. Okay, so this one, oh, I love this one. This one, I have an Excel spreadsheet that I'm keeping all of these wonderful things in. And so, hang on 2 seconds. Save, auto save, yes. Okay. So, this one I started last year. I think I started at the beginning of December as my December 1st start, I think. This was a Patreon in July. or maybe that's when I started, is after like Christmas in July. I got a little tiny start, but then I restarted it using, I had DMC pulled, and I'm stitching it on a 56 count, and DMC is really thick for 56 count. So, and something else I'm going to show you that's right in that bag right there, Teresa Koget's beautiful hometown 2-year stitch along. I restarted mine, and I just haven't really worked on it. But that's on 56 count, and so I got 103s to stitch on. So I decided, okay, if I'm doing this on 56 count, guess what? I'm gonna do it on 103s. So I went through and did my own little conversion for this wonderful pattern, so that I can be using the 103s instead of DMC or overdyes. So this is being stitched on a 56 count pearl gray from just Zweigert, and it's Teresa Koget's Santa with Anne and Ted. Now, if you went to the Jingle Ball, you saw that all of her Santas that she does, she has come out with wool kits. I'm not doing a haul because a year of stuff I've purchased, we're going to be here all day. I'm not going to do that. But I did buy a few of the wool kits so I can start learning wool applique as well. But this is definitely one of them that I got because I love this fabric. I have some fabric that's got her Santas on it. And this is what I did to my cell phone. I used Teresa's fabric. I cut out a piece. It's a clear case. And I put Ann and Ted on the back of it. Isn't that cute? That's my favorite. So, of course, I had to stitch it. So I restarted it, like I said, with the 103s. And this is where I'm at. And this is a 56 count linen. Isn't that beautiful? And that's as far as I've gotten. I love it. I want to keep stitching it. And of course, here's one of the bags. And I do have some more of these. I think listed, this is her Naughty or Nice fabric line. I think I still have some of these listed out on my Etsy shop as well. And I'll link that in the description box. But I was trying out some different interfacing, and this one is like stiffer than 14 count Ada stiff from the box stores, like really stiff. And so I'm not liking this interfacing. So this one is mine. But I have a zipper pull that's got Raggedy Ann on it. Now, I used to make Raggedy Ann and Andy's, and so when I saw this pattern, I knew immediately that I would be stitching it, that I had to have that fabric, and that I had to have that wool applique because I love me some Raggedy Ann. So anyway, there is that one, and I want to keep stitching on that throughout the year, whether it's Christmas or not. I want to get that one done. So there's that, and I'm gonna, what am I gonna do with this stuff? Let me just making piles. I'm sorry about that. Okay, the next one is another start. I started this one on the 1st of January. This was my this was my 2025 blessing sampler. And I guess I'm not blessed because homie didn't get it done. This is The Light of Winter by Brenda Gervais with Dye Needle and Thread. I know you guys, oh, I have an itchy nose. That's what happens. Floss tubers get itchy noses as soon as the camera rolls. Anyway, this is The Light of Winter. It's very beautiful. I'm stitching this with the called for colors, and according to my tag, it is a 46 count bungalow by Forbidden Fiber Co. And you're gonna see that I use that quite a bit. 46 count, and this is as far as I've gotten. And excuse the wrinkles again, I apologize. This is so beautiful. I don't know why. I just haven't been stitching on it. I need to stitch more. I need to make myself stitch. I used to, like, I work from home. So if I'm in a meeting and I don't have to be taking notes or I'm not presenting, I just have to listen and be there. Sometimes I crochet granny squares, or I can stitch, but usually I don't. But I try to. A lot of times, because I'm at home, I'm working through my lunch, well, no. I'm going to start taking specifically, set a timer, go sit down, get a thread or two, get a length of floss or two, at least get some kind of stitching done every day. That's the goal for 2026. Do you guys have any goals that you are stitchy related goals that you're trying to achieve? Put them in the comments. Let us know what you're working on for 2026. So this is my 25 blessing sampler. Here's another project bag that I made. I don't think I have any more of these out on my Etsy. I think those all sold out. Anyway, here's another one I started. This one I started, Stitch All the Things. From Darlene Dion is the wonderful little designer. It's called Stitch All the Things Quaker. And when I ordered from the attic. A lot of the 103s that I used in Teresa's thing that's in that bag that I made. She also sent me a Swasserfine floss that's even thinner than 103s to use on 56 count. So I had never used it before, so I said, yeah, send me a color and, you know, I'll use that and I'll try it. So this is the Swasserfine silk. And I got a 56 count, and this is it's called Mocha Blanc from Grace Notes Fabric. And here's a tip. If you cut a piece of fabric from a bigger piece that has the tag on it, I forget who it was that showed this and what they did back in a while ago, but I've been starting to use a Sharpie and write it on the salvage edge of your fabric. So if you cut a piece off, write that on the salvage, because this doesn't have a tag on it, you have no idea what it is. Well, you're not going to stitch, you're not going to see the salvage, it'll be, you know, cut off or put behind a frame or whatever. Just write it with a Sharpie so you know what it is. I forget who it was, and if it was you, that was an awesome idea. So anyway, I don't have a whole lot done on this. This is the beginning of this design in this part of the Quaker motif. And that's as far as I got on this 56 count. And I really like that Swasserfine, however you say it, silk. It's very smooth. So this is just a little, you know, throw pillow that's kind of like this one. That would be cute right here. So I need to get going on them. Some of these, like I said last year, 60 finishes, and by the time I'm 60, these, I'm sorry, I didn't want to zip. I don't want to zip. I need to get some more finishes done. Anyway, so the next one that I started, and this was in March, probably the middle of March, because it was after market last year. And it's that time of year, friends. It's that time of year again. I know all the designers are very, very busy right now working on getting their designs done and photos taken and patterns made or whatever. So we're going to start getting the sneak peeks. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go to market again. I'm going to add them pre-sales to my Etsy shop. If there's anything at market that you want, make sure you let me know. Check out my Etsy. I'll be posting in all the social media when things are being posted for the 2026 Needlework Market, and I will have them out there. But this was one from last year. This is Jordan from the Little Stitch Girl, And I'm using most of the called for beautiful colors, but I added, she's got yellow, green, pink, red, silvery white, a light blue, a dark blue, and I added a purple. And this is the pattern. A stitch a day keeps the crazy away. And I think it's so cute. And again, it's on the 28 count Monaco that I dyed black. And these colors, hang on, I keep leaving needles in here and having the stitch in the front instead of in the back. So I've got a hanging thread. So we're gonna pull that to the back so you don't see that. But again, 28 count Monaco that I dyed, and it's very thick and tight because I like that. That's why I like, you know, when I dye it. But look at those colors. You can see I added the purple. That one is the purple that I added. And so I just have a little bit done from the top, starting on the word stitch. But oh my gosh, isn't it cute? Isn't it cute? So this is pretty straightforward. It shouldn't take long to get it done. It's just when I'm pulling out a project to stitch on, I just don't reach for that one, and I don't know why. So we're gonna have to get to that. Now, this is another project that we got, I wasn't the only one that got it, at the Farm Girl Gathering, and there's pictures, you've seen it all over the internet, wonderful pictures of Brenda Gervais' project that we got called Stay True. Now this whole thing started, this was the box that we got as our gift from Brenda. There is another thing in there, you can make a little bonnet needle book, but this whole thing, and she for an hour told us the story behind the pattern, how she created it, what was the motivation. And her motivation was this postcard. I think it was a postcard that she found in an antique store. And it's just 6 girls that lived out in the Amana colonies, and they had their bonnets, and she just took that and that inspired her design. And you know, normally at retreats, like the one, here's the bonnet needle book that she got us. This was in the kit as well. It's so cute. But normally, like the Peace on Earth from Teresa Vanette, I don't usually start the projects there because a lot of these kits that you get at retreats, they're on 36 count. And I don't know, you guys have heard me talk about it several times. 36 count and I do not get along. 1 strand of floss, in my mind, is not enough coverage. 2 strands is too much. So I try to stay away from 36 count. So that's why I didn't start the one that we got from Teresa the year before. But this one came with Winter Brew by R&R, a 36 count. Well, Michelle Rudy from Farm Girl Dry Goods, who puts on the retreat, has a pop-up shop, and she happened to have 40 count Winter Brew in there. So my good friend Mary that was sitting next to me, hi Mary, I love you girlie, she loves 36 count. So she just went and bought me a 40 count piece, and I gave her my 36 count. We traded. So this one I most definitely started at the retreat, and I spent the time getting all of the floss dropped. I'm using all of the called for because it came in the kit. If it was a DMC, I put it on one of my cards and wrote the DMC number on it so we know what it is. And these are one of my cards that I give out, you know, when I go to retreats and I give out little goodie, table gifts, whatever. I give out these cards. But if it was a overdyed, like Weeks or Shaker or Gentle Arts or Classic Colorworks, I still use one of these cards, but this is what I do. I just take it off of here, and then I lace it through both of these. So it still has a drop, but it's still got the original card from the maker, so that if I unkit this when I'm all done, then I can just take this off and then hang it up. And then I can use this again for a different project. But what I like to do as well is if there are people who are at the retreat who hand out, like this is Jessica. Hi, Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher. If they hand out cards at the retreat and I'm starting something at the retreat, I like to use their cards as my floss drop. So anyway, the colors are absolutely gorgeous. It just turned out so beautiful. So what does it look like, you ask? Let me show you. This is Stay True. And I'm telling you, the colors on this photo do not do it justice at all. The model, and I'm going to put some pictures in either here or in the whatever, intro, extra, whatever. I'm going to put some of my pictures from Instagram on here. The model is just gorgeous. It is so beautiful. So I started this right away at the retreat. I think I've only worked on it maybe once since then, which I really want to get it out. But that's how far I got on it. And I want to get it done because it's so beautiful. And you know, these colors, look at them. Like those blues and those pinks, the mauve-y color. You can't really tell on here that's that beautiful. So I can't wait to get going on this. I want to, even though it's a 40 count, it's a R&R, and it's not the tight, like a picture this plus is really tight. It's kind of, it's not as a week's loosey-goosey. It's kind of in between. So it's kind of thin, but it's a 40 count, not the 36 count that came with it. And I just love it. This one I could probably stitch in hand. I probably could because it's loose. And I don't care for loosey-goosey, but man, this is beautiful. And I don't have the little handy helper thing, the thread bed, whatever you call it, Denise, I forget. But here's the beautiful project bag that we got gifted from Michelle and Denise, Goose Designs. And I believe this is a Minnick and Simpson. I'll cry because they're not designing fabric anymore. But I believe it's Minnick and Simpson fabric line. And it's so beautiful. So there's that. Stay True by Brenda Gervais. And I started that at the Farm Girl Gathering Retreat in June of 2025. Okay, so also at that retreat, as you know, Brenda's there, and Brenda, and I totally understand this. I only sell on my Etsy shop. I don't have a brick and mortar. If I was independently wealthy, there's a house for sale here in town that's huge. It's 5 bedrooms. It's huge. I would open a needlework store on the first floor. I would have twin beds in those rooms. The whole 3rd floor upstairs is finished and open, huge. I would put twin beds with beautiful quilts on the beds, and I would have a retreat center that people could come on the weekends, and I'd have my retail on the 1st floor of the home. It's zoned mixed use, but I need about $500,000. I would pay the house totally off, so I wouldn't have that mortgage payment. I would not live here. I would live in the home, so I wouldn't have rent or mortgage on top of that. All I would need to do is pay the inventory to get the store filled and fixtures and the bedding and beds, and I would feed everybody 2 of the mornings. I would feed you because it would be like a bed and breakfast, but not a bed and breakfast. It would be a retreat center, but it would be Thursdays. You would come in, and so Friday morning and Saturday morning, I would do a huge brunch buffet. Oh, it would be so cool. That is a plan that if I was independently wealthy or had a rich uncle or somebody that wanted to give me $500,000, I would do that. That's my dream anyway. It's a beautiful brick house. Beautiful brick house. And so I would call it Brick House Stitchery and Retreat Center. So that's the plan if I had that to come true. So it's good to dream, right? Okay, so the next one... oh, here it is. At that retreat, Brenda Gervais, like I started to say a long time ago, because I only have an Etsy shop, Brenda does not typically do, have wholesalers buy her patterns wholesale that don't have a brick and mortar. And I totally understand why, because we need to support our brick and mortars. Yes, it's nice, and I love you guys that support my little Etsy shop if I do patterns, but we really need to support our brick and mortars as well so that they stay in business, that they stay open, because a lot of them are closing that didn't make it during, through COVID, and there's a lot more that are opening up. And we don't have any in Michigan, a lot of them. There's a quilting shop that does sell cross-stitch stuff, but that's not the priority. Chantel has a shop in Williamston, Chantel 141. Hi, Chantel. But her shop now is only open when she has her events, because her focus is on the backers and putting together these wonderful mystery boxes and blessing sampler kits and other unique things, and her spring retreat and her pep rally that she does in the fall. And so her focus isn't having a brick and mortar open all of the time. So she's scaled that back. So again, there's a need in this area to have a full-time brick and mortar store. That's the plan someday. But anyway, I digress. Brenda Gervais, when she's there and when I can support other stores or her at an event, I'm going to buy her patterns. If I go to a store, another stitchy store, in person, brick and mortar, I will buy any of the Brenda Gervais I can get my hands on, because I can't get them wholesale. I can't sell them to you. This is my way of helping support other brick and mortars, is by buying Brenda patterns. But she was at the retreat and she brought some with her. So I have her Grand Old Flag 2. And these are a set of 3 designs, patriotic designs. In Michelle Rudy Farm Girl Dry Goods little pop-up shop, she had fabrics for sale. So I got a 40 count linen, which was from Needle and Flax. Rachel, another Michigan gal. Hi, Rachel. 90s Nirvana is that. And I am stitching, which one am I doing? This one is one I'm starting with. This one. And this is how far I got. Not very far at all. Because I stitched this at the retreat. In between when I stitched the Stay True, I did one day, that's all I stitched on. Another day, I was finishing my swap gift. That's what I was stitching on, and then I finished it the next morning and gave it away that afternoon. Nothing like living on the edge, right? So anyway, those I'm using red, white, and blue colored cotton. And these are, they came in a little kit from Primrose. She uses a lot of Lindsay's designs. She uses a lot of color and cotton because she loves the saturation of the color, which is good, which is, she's not lying. It's really beautiful. So Cherry Cobbler, Stargazing, and Old Lace are the 3 colors that are color and cotton that their Patriotic Quaker use this. And I think that's one of the ones that I gave as an exchange gift. So that's why I had these and I was stitching them. So I thought, why not use these? That's all I need is 3 colors for these Brenda patterns. So those are the floss that I'm using. So there's that one. And that one I started, like I said, at the retreat. I think it was like the first weekend in June. And then we go to StitchCon. Hi, ladies. So I started one at StitchCon because you always have to have a StitchCon start, right? Or whatever retreat you're at. So I found in the annex, which is trunk shows of all the designers send all of their stuff, and Barbara Hills puts it in there, and you can buy that. Sometimes the floss, little packs of floss are there. Sometimes there's fabric that's called for you can find there. But anyway, this is Heart and Hand. It's the Doodles, and it's the Maker. So I started this, didn't get very far. I think I'm using all of the called for flosses, overdyes. I'm stitching this on a remnant of Wren by Pitch of This Plus. And I did not get a whole lot started. That's it. Because it's StitchCon. You don't get a whole lot of stitching at retreats, right? So there's that one. But I decided, and I think it was last year at StitchCon, I won a retreat bag that's a by Annie design from Tammy Blaylock, Creative Country Girl. It was the retreat bag was all done in this fabric, from this fabric line, and inside of that was a project bag. So I decided that I liked the Maker theme, and so I put in a bunch of fabric, or a bunch of patterns in here that kind of go along with that theme. Last year, or the year before, a lot of people started this Jeanette Douglas Matter and Hand pattern. A lot of people had it done, and I hadn't gotten it yet. So I got that, and when I was out at the Amana Colonies, they have a quilt store that has a lot of cross stitch as well patterns, and they kit the floss to certain patterns. So I happened to be able to get that there, and this was the weekend. Then I had one weekend between, which is good because I got COVID. While I was at that retreat, came home, not that weekend, but the following weekend was StitchCon. I was like, I'm gonna be better. I'm not missing StitchCon. Anyway, out at the retreat in Amana, I got the pattern and the floss, called for flosses. And I am going to be stitching it on a One More Reproduction 46 count linen by Bestitch Me, because they have some fabric there as well. I don't know if I bought this there or bought this at StitchCon in the annex, because they did have some at that quilt shop as well. So I put that in this bag that's got all of my like maker type stuff. So in here I also have the Imprint Stitch and Maker Heart and Hand. So you can make little pillows that go along with that maker theme. When I showed you the coffee bird before, here's the stitching bird pattern. I thought that was appropriate, went here. I also have the quilting bird. It's kind of a maker-ish theme, so that's in that bag. And then the heirloom tomato from Erica Michaels. I have that in here as well. So I just put a bunch of these maker type patterns in here so I know where they are, and if I ever want to pull one of those out, I got it. This could be a new start. So those are all kitted up and ready to go. And let me zip this bag up so I don't lose it. Okay, so this is Maker. I showed you this. This is in a Lori Holt bag that I put together. This is one of her cheater fabrics, and I think this is from the My Happy Place line, or Vintage Happy Place from a while ago. But anyway, that's Lori Holt. So, where are we at now? Let's see. Oh yes, June 19th is what? June 19th is Juneteenth Day, right? So you're going to see in my patriotic, I started the first year I was at StitchCon. This past year was my 5th year of StitchCon. So I started it in 2021. And it was, I'm just going to pull it out now because the name is escaping me. A Stitch for Sweet Freedom. And that's as far as I've gotten on that one. So I always take this to StitchCon and I always stitch on it on Juneteenth Day. And unfortunately, I don't really get it out and do much the rest of the year like I should. Well, this year, a group of us started a new pattern by Silver Creek Samplers called the Day of Jubilee. So I want to get both of these done now on Juneteenth Day. This one I'm using all of the called for Forbidden Fiber Co. flosses, which these are really nice flosses. I really like it. So I'm using the called for, and I started this at StitchCon. There was a bunch of us that started it on June 19th. But, you know, like I said, we're at StitchCon. You don't get a whole lot done. So this is the flag. This is where I started. And this is as far as I got, just the red. And I'm stitching it on the other half of the fabric from this. And man, that skirt is something else on her. I got a lot to go. Looks like, oh, I don't have that much to go. That skirt is no joke. There's a lot to go. But anyway, this fabric is called Diversity. How appropriate. And it's by Mystic Fabric. So that's what this is. And that's how far I got. And look, I have on the, write it down on the, in the margin so you know what your fabric is. So there's that. I'll stick that one back over there. So this one I started on Juneteenth Day on June 19th at StitchCon. All right, so then 4th of July comes up, and I wanted a 4th of July start. I've had this pattern. I forget what year this came out. In 2024, so it just came out the year before. So I've had it for a year. But this is Primrose July, or 4th of July rules. Didn't get a whole lot done on it, but it was a start nonetheless, because it was 4th of July, and I had a lot going on that day. But I want to get back to this. This is another patriotic design that I want to do because of our 250th birthday of our country. And this one is again on the 46 count bungalow by Forbidden Fiber Co. I love that fabric, and I think I bought an entire yard of it, and I've been using it quite a bit. So I'm using the called for flosses, and I believe they're all DMC. Yes, they're DMC. And this is another project bag I made a while ago when I was making more of the vinyl fronts. And that's the back. And then, whoops, I made a little bag to put all of my fabric, or my floss in. So this is like a little bag that goes inside to keep all my floss together. So that's the 4th of July rules by Primrose Cottage. Lindsay designed it, and she's got rules for a lot of places, and you'll see I'm doing quite a few of her rules. I think they're so cute. So now we're getting into, I think I did a lot of fall, the exchange pieces that I was working on, plus I had surgery, so I don't think I started, let me see. No, I did fall. So we get into then Halloween now. So this is, I don't know if you guys have seen this book in the quilting world. There is a Summertime Memories And there's also the Halloween Memories. And it's Susan Aki, who is a quilting designer. And in each of these books, if you go towards the back, she has cross stitch. And they're really cute cross stitch patterns. Aren't they cute? So I have that one kitted up to stitch. And then this one is the one I started. But I don't like, I probably will start it over because I like it, but here's another picture. It's called Learn to Fly. But the fabric I'm using is a 40 count dark soil, and this is Kitten Stitcher, her son's, I forget the name of what they call their dyeing business, but I need to find a different color. Well, there it pops right out. That broom handle doesn't really pop out. So I might need to find something that's a little bit darker. It's showing up there, but when I look at it here, it's, I don't know. So I'm gonna finish the rest of it and then we'll see. I might need to redo the broom handles. And there's a bunch of other cute little patterns that I want to do out of that book. And it uses, and I just dumped them all out in the bag. Oh well. It uses Aurifloss. And there's the colors. And I think this is what I used, maybe, on that other one. Either that or Sulky. So, that is that. We're getting into fall and Halloween. Okay, so I had finished this once before. But I ended up giving it as an exchange gift because I didn't get the stitching done on this one to give as an exchange gift at the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher Magazine Retreat in Branson, Missouri. So, I'm restitching this now for me. And this is another Primrose. I think this was a freebie that they gave away if you get their newsletter. And it is called Give Thanks. And I didn't really like their colors. So, I chose different colors. And that's how far I am so far. Again, 28 count Monaco, 2/2, and I tea-dyed it. This was the white Monaco that you get in the tube, and I tea-dyed it. And I have this, change the colors up a little bit to bring more of the teal in there and get the darker green on the stem and the teal color in there. So, I'm going to finish that up, but when I make project bags, the way I get fat quarter bundles do not work. That wastes so much fabric, and it's not for what I do and how I cut them out. You want to use, you know, there's a method to the madness. So when I cut them out, especially if it's a directional fabric, there's a chunk of fabric that's like that. It's not big enough to make a regular size project bag. But look at these. There's a beautiful size. And it's perfect if you've got this size pattern. It slides right down in there perfectly. So, I have so much of this fabric sitting that I'm going to start making this size project bag as well. And a lot of you I know went crazy over the Tilda Christmas fabric. They had the snowman. I don't have any of, I sold all the big project bags that I had. But guess what? I got a whole bunch of this size fabric. I'm going to make some more, so stay tuned. I'm going to have Tilda fabric out. If you haven't followed me, if you don't follow my Etsy, it's SWG Stitching Designs at Etsy. I'll link it below. Go take a look and keep it so that you get notified when I post new stuff, because I'm going to do some more of that Tilda fabric in in the Christmas in these sizes. Or I may do this as a companion with a bigger bag, because I bought a bunch of the other fabric in that line, but the one with the Santa and the deer and the bear and all of that, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm going to have a bunch of those. So stay tuned. So there's that, and let's get going because we don't want this to be 4 hours long, right? Okay, at the Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher Magazine Retreat, oh my goodness. If you get a chance to go, go. It was a great time. It was in Branson, Missouri. I want to say they're going to do it in August instead of October. I don't remember. Don't quote me. And I don't know if they've opened up sign-ups yet. But anyway, here's some of the some project bags that I made. The designer, and please forgive me, Julia, I do not know how to pronounce your name correctly. Julia Putini Entici. I don't know Italian. Although she's invited us to her home in Italy, I would love to go. So if you're watching, hello. But this was our free kit that we got at the retreat. It's Fall Biscorner Sewing Box. Look at that. And she taught us how to finish it. Everything we need, everything we need is included in our kit that we got for the retreat. And again, most of the time I don't start at the retreat, but this one, ooh, I had to start it. And the fabric, like I said, I don't like other counts. Typically, my sweet spot is 46 count. But in order to make the project exactly the way it is, you gotta have the size and the count fabric that they provide, so it finishes at the right size of all the supplies that you get in the kit, whatever. So I'm stitching it, and I think I might be even stitching this in hand. And it's a 32 count lap and loops. It's called Crypt Cloth, and it's a 32 count linen. And I started it right away at the retreat, and oh my gosh, you guys. Look at that. Some stitches that I've never done before. I don't have the back stitching, but you can tell it's this part on the band of the drum of the sewing box. Isn't that beautiful? So I got a lot to go. So Lap and Loops is the daughter of Becky Nolan, who's Lucy Beam. She was our other guest designer. I didn't start any of her projects at the retreat, but I have a whole bunch of them, and I bought a whole bunch. But this is DMC, and it came with this little cute little card. So we made all the symbols, wrote the numbers, this is all the floss that was included in the kit. So you put it all together so it looks so pretty, and then you have your key and your numbers. It's so good. And then we got everything that we need to finish everything. Polyfill. All the finishing stuff. The circles cut out for the drums and the biscornu and all of that. All of the felt that you need. Everything. The interfacing, the stiff stuff that you need for the drum. Everything. She included everything. There's videos where she has a Facebook group just for people that were at the retreat that can go in and watch the videos of finishing and how she finishes it. It is so amazing. And so a bunch of us were joking around. Mary, Nancy, and Angela, we're going to Italy. Do you guys got your passports yet? We asked Julia if we could come to Italy and do a finishing session with her, and she invited us all to come to her guest house. I'm like, are you serious? So we immediately went and looked at how much flights cost to Italy. Wouldn't that be something? That would be amazing. So anyway, that's the beautiful project that I started from that retreat. Here's another one that I started, I think right before my surgery, maybe. Yes, these are in the middle of October before my surgery. So this is another Primrose Cottage Quaker. This is the Autumn Quaker. And I used to be in a cottage garden thread club, whatever. So every month I would get 5 skeins. And this is one called Aster. And it's so variegated. And typically, I don't like variegated, really super variegated floss. But this one, I'm stitching it on a 40 count Heritage by Pitch of This Plus. And it's so cool. So I don't have to worry about switching threads. It's just showing up the variegation wherever it shows up, and I'm loving it. So I am stitching that 1 strand over 2 on 40 count, and that is the pattern. It's gonna be so cool. So I've been working on that one. Don't have a lot done, but you know, it's something that you can just pick up. It's not a whole lot to it. 1 thread, monochromatic, don't even worry about it. Just pick one up and go. You don't change flosses and all of that stuff. So anyway, the next one I have was, I believe, a Patreon chart. Yes, September of 25. It is All Hallows Eve Stocking by my girl Teresa Kogut. If you're in her Patreon, you have seen this, I'm sure. And I don't have a ton of it done, but I'm stitching mine on a 56 count Fox and Rabbit Sandcastle. I'm using the called for colors. And I got just a tiny bit done. Not a whole lot at all, but I would love to keep going on this. It's being housed in one of Teresa Kogut's fabrics bag that I made. I may have some of these on my Etsy. I don't know off the top of my head what's out there, but I think I do have more of these cut out, so I could make more and list them out there. And it's lined on the inside with that star fabric. It's got my little tag on it. And these 2 little gals, this one and this one, our girl Teresa has cross-stitch patterns of both of those gals too. And I've got them both kitted up, ready to go, also living in this wonderful bag, along with the stocking. So, there's that. And I didn't get a whole lot of stitching done on that, but it's coming right along. I have 2 little motifs, 2 little things done. Anyway, let's go to the next one. This is another one of the Primrose Cottage Girls, Lindsay's Quakers. And this one is Halloween Quaker. And they started out monochromatic. A lot of her Quakers are monochromatic when she first started releasing them. But now they've gotten some that have lots of color in them. This is from Michelle Rudy in her little pop-up shop at the retreat. This is Cedar River Linens called Maple Bar. It's what I'm using to stitch this on, and it's a 40 count. And I'm using the called for Weeks Dye Works, and I don't know if it's called for or not, but I'm using Weeks Dye Works flosses and 1 Classic Colorworks color. I don't know if that's what's called for off the top of my head. Parchment, Sassy Brass, Sweet Potato, Onyx. Maybe, maybe not. No, it's not. I think I pulled from my stash. And just use the colors that I needed from my stash. But this is where I'm at so far on this one. Isn't that cute? I love that little ghost. So cute. So that one is coming right along. And this is in a bag that I made when I first started making the fabric bags. And it's all of this, this looks yellow, but it's not really, it's orange. It's orange. But these are fabrics that were, believe it or not, from Walmart. That one year they had really cute fall and Halloween fabric that one year. And they sell them like little fat quarters or a yard, or fat quarters or a rolled up yard. But I haven't seen a whole lot of them anymore. So then we get into Christmas stitching. The Halloween Quaker, those I did in October. These now are ones that I didn't start until like end of November-ish because I had surgery. And so I really didn't stitch on much except for my Prairie Schooler Santas. But this is, again, on 28 count Monaco that I dyed black. And the Stitching with the Housewives. I want my tree to have all handmade ornaments on it. Eventually, I want them all to end up that way. So I do have, this is one that I made that was Stitching with the Housewives. I have made one so far, little ornament. So when they came out with these rounds, I thought, oh, those are perfect. Those would be perfect. So she came out with, I don't know if this was this year. No, these came out 2023. And I've had the pattern, so I thought, well, let me get started. So here's Joy to the World. And they're just little round, and this is as far as I got this year on this. Again, on 28 count black, black Monaco that I dyed. Excuse me while here's some of the other ones that I'm gonna make with it. Is Noel. I love the little cardinals. Here's Peace on Earth. And Oh Holy Night. And I'm going to go back, and I think there's more that they put out this Christmas that I didn't get yet. So I want to have, oops, sorry, I showed it again. I want to have a lot of homemade ornaments on my tree at Christmas time instead of the store-bought ones. Excuse me as I drink some water. My throat's kind of dry. Okay, now we get into the Jingle Ball. Oh! Did you guys go to the Jingle Ball? I'm talking about it again. Did you have fun? Okay, there's two things that I had to start right away. I did buy other stuff that I didn't start, but there's actually three things. Three things? Yes, three things I started right away. And this is the first one. This is Midnight Santa Stocking by my girl Teresa. Hi, Teresa. This is so cute. So, remember I told you about the 28 count Monaco that I dyed? I thought, I think I have the perfect fabric for this stocking. Let me go check. And guess what? I did. So this is as far as I got. Look at this. I dyed this. The modeling is showing up perfectly. But don't you think that's perfect for this? perfect. This is a little more brownish gray than this, more of a bluish gray. And in looking at the pattern, there's red on the door, there's red on the wreath, and there's a little bit of red at the base of this tree, but up here doesn't have a whole lot of red. So I decided to put red on the base of the trees that are up here, and then do the wording in red to get more red up on the top above him. Isn't that awesome? And I'm doing it 28 count Monaco, 1 thread over 1 on 28 count, 1 over 1. So 28 count times 2, that's like 56 count. Right? Was my math mathin'? So my stockings aren't going to be quite as long as the other one, so I'm hoping I have just enough. Perfect. Oh, I love it. Teresa is so stinking talented. She's an artist first. She's an artist. Have you seen all of her 12 days of Christmas paintings that she did? Oh my gosh. So many of those. I'm like, that better be a cross-stitch pattern. That better be a cross-stitch pattern. So here's one of the bags of her fabric line that she had 2 years ago maybe. And if this looks familiar, this is one of her patterns that came out that a lot of people stitched up and they put in that frame that's from Hobby Lobby that says joy, and you put this guy in the center of the joy. Do you think I could find the joy anywhere? No, everywhere was out. So I'm gonna, hopefully they have it out next year. I'm gonna hope. But anyway, this is the bag. And then this is my flannel floss friend. Remember, I used to make these and sell them. I haven't made them in a while. But I call them a flannel floss friend because this is flannel and your thread will stick to it. It's got a little vinyl pocket on the inside. And then you put your floss, when you're done stitching, your thread will stick, and then you just fold it up, snap it up, put it in your bag, and away you go. It's a flannel floss friend. So I'm gonna start having more of these out on my Etsy shop as well, because I have tons of them cut out. I just haven't put any out there, put them together and put them out there. So that's another one of my bags. So that's the first Jingle Ball start that I had. Here's another one of my bags. This is Urban Chicks from Moda in their, I forget what they call this. Kitty Corn is the one that's the Halloween, but I don't know what they call the Christmas one, because there's kitties, Christmas kitties as well. But anyway, this is, I talked to you about it a little bit before. This is the Annie B's Christmas pears. Now, in theory, what you're supposed to do is get all of this and stitch it all up and be ready to finish it with her during the class. Well, remember I had surgery, I didn't do nothing. So unfortunately, this is all I got done. I'm stitching it on a 40 count Joy Lynn by Atomic Ranch. And they're in the pattern, the instructions that came with the pattern. She has, let me see, all the instructions with pictures on how to finish it. Very good instructions. But she has a templates for the sizes. So if you stitch it on 46, 36, 30, 32, whatever, she's got the little templates in there so that you can cut it out and cut out the fabric pieces that you need to finish the pears. It was so cool. Their little the little video that they did, the live, you know, class that they had at Jingle Ball was really cute. So I'm stitching that on that Joy Lynn, and I'm using a icing by Classic Colorworks Belle Soie stranded silk. And I believe this is the called for. It may not be the called for fabric, but I think this was the called for floss, if I remember correctly. Hang on. My laptop shut down. Okay, so those were the Christmas pears by Annie B's. Couple more. Just a couple more. And then we're done with the new starts. Okay, so in this bag, there were other freebies. Each designer, you could purchase their patterns, or they all had freebies as well when you're at the Jingle Ball. And this was Noelle by Robin Pickens. I thought that was cute. I may do it, but not in that colorway. I don't know what I'm going to do, what colors I'm going to do, but I thought that was pretty. In this bag, I also have the stitch from, or the pattern from Heart and Hand, and I've never done a Tiny Town pattern, and I want to make this one into a drum really, really bad. So I have this all kitted up and ready to go, and this is the Nativity Tiny Town. And of course, you gotta have the wise men coming as well. So I've never made a drum. So my StitchCon girlies, remember, we were all gonna pick our favorite one, and we were all gonna finish this. This was the year before, and we were gonna all have our drums at the brag table, and it never happened. So, challenging my StitchCon girlies, let's go. Pick a Tiny Town. Let's do it. Okay? Alright, so that's not the one I started, but it's in here. What I did start, and I got the Master Floss pack for the religious Christmas patterns of Primrose Cottage, and most of them are color and cotton. I don't have a whole lot of color and cotton, so I thought this was a good way, by buying their kits that they put together for their patterns, then I'll have color and cotton left over for other things, because I don't have a whole lot of color and cotton. Anyway, I'm doing another Quaker. This is the Nativity Quaker. Look at that. So cute. So I started this one right away after the Jingle Ball as well. And I purchased this fabric from Lindy Stitches. It's a 46 count Harvest Moon, also from Forbidden Fiber Co. But I bought it from Lindy Stitches shop at the Jingle Ball, and it's 46 count. And this is how far I am on the Nativity Quaker. And I'm almost to the end. I think that is the end. So this is how wide it's going to be on a 46 count. So it's going to be just a little square. And I have a whole bunch of fabric left over. So I'm thinking I'll have plenty to do the Tiny Town on this as well for my drum. So what do you guys think? Have any of you done Tiny Towns? And have any of you made a drum out of your Tiny Towns? Comment below and let me know. It's so cute. I want to keep going on this, even though I don't have the mojo to do Christmas. I really want to keep working on that one. Okay, one more. And this one is my January 1st, 2026 start. This, oh my goodness, I almost dumped you over. This is my 2026 Blessing Sampler. And if I don't hurry up and really get focused, today's the 4th. So It'll be okay. I have it in another patriotic bag that I made that is a vinyl front, and I use that really thick foam so that because of where I stitched it, it does. But most of the time, it'll stick right up. As my girl Kara says, it'll put your eye out because my bags are so, they have heft to them. I don't like flimsy bags. Ugh. I like them to have, when I put them on a shelf, to stand up and stay there. Anyway, this is my blessing sampler. You might have seen me put it on Instagram, and it's out of the book Sweet Land of Liberty, and it is on a 46 count Confederate gray Zweigart base. I pulled colors from Stash rather than use my, excuse me just a moment, I gotta put this floss back in the right bag so I don't lose it. It's gotta go in here. Sorry. Hold, please. Okay, so 46 count Confederate gray. I pulled from Stash, mostly the overdyed flosses from my stash. I don't think I use any DMC, but it's not this specific called for colors. And here's another picture of what I'm doing. Now, blessing samplers, aren't they supposed to have the alphabet? Okay, I don't know. What is your definition of a sampler? If we're going to go specifically a sampler that the little girls stitched back in the 1800s or whatever, they were sampling an alphabet. They were doing that. My sampler's not going to have an alphabet because I don't want this blessing sampler to be just blessing for me and my stitching. Our country right now needs the blessings. I'm not trying to get political. I'm not going to go down that road. We just need, our country needs blessings all around, okay? We need blessings. So my blessing sampler is going to be a blessing for America. And I'm going to change it around up here. Somehow I'm going to put, instead of maybe my initial, which Barb Adams, Barbara Johns, okay, same thing. Anyway, instead of putting that, I might put God bless America. And that's going to be my blessing sampler. Okay, like I said, I pulled from Stash. I start in the upper left. Is that the front or the back? So this is all I got done. Again, 46 count Confederate gray. Zweigart base, so it's not as loosey-goosey. And all I got is the corner of the border. But that's okay. So I'm going to keep and did you see that big old slug? I tried to pull it out a little bit. I'll go back and work on it if it might be covered up. I'm thinking, I'm hoping that that slub thing is going to be right in here somewhere. That's what I'm hoping. Because that's not quite down all the way. It's got to come down about here. So maybe it won't be. Oh, maybe it'll be underneath that thing. Hopefully my stitching will cover up that big old slub thing. Or I'm going to try to pull it out. Because I don't want to restitch it somewhere else. Though I don't have that much in. Maybe I'll redo it on this side of the fabric. Who knows? We'll see. If it doesn't get covered up, I'll do the counting and the figuring. And if that slub, if I can't get it out and it doesn't get covered up by other stitching, then I may start on a different corner of this. Because that would be ugly. So anyway, that's my blessing sampler. Blessing the country, not me. Not my stitching. I want to bless the United States of America because we need it right now. Right? Okay, so that's the 20th start since you've seen me last. Starts that are still in progress in WIPs, not starts and finishes, because I don't have all of those in front of me, because most of the ones that I started and finished I gave away as gifts, and you're going to see those in the pictures either before we chatted or at the end. So next we're going to talk about real quick some of the winter stitching that I want to do. Most of these are WIPs that I haven't touched in a very long time. This is my number 3. Number 3. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you is that there's only 2 stitches that I have in my WIP pile that are older than this. So this has been around for a while. When I first got into stitching, this was my first quote-unquote sampler. And my book fell apart, so here we go. And we all know, and we all love Winter Rose Manor by Brenna Gervais. And as I'm looking at this, I just took this out of the bag and I looked at this, and I looked at my thing. See, this whole book fell all apart. The whole book fell apart. I've got a lot more white to put on this, but I'm really not liking the color of this house. Remember, the conch didn't show up. This is in a 40 count Brenda's brew. And so I'm using, I think, a pink DMC 221, I think is what I'm using. And I'm just now thinking it's not very bright. But when I show it here, it pops right out. So maybe it will. Once I get more of the white, see the white up in this little medallion thingy here? That's the other problem. Roasted marshmallow is more yellow, kind of like what's up in here. And so I switched it to Classic Colorworks Toasted Marshmallow. Look how white that is. So once I get more of the white on around the house, maybe that will help the house pop out a little bit more. We'll see. I had to redo the whole roof before because it was a hot mess. I really would hate to have to redo this whole pink house. So I'm not even gonna entertain the thought right now. It is what it is, and I think once I get everything else in there, it will be fine. I may, on the corner of the house between the side wall and this wall, if you look on the pattern, see how there's like a line? I may do that in the white color. Once the white in the curtains gets in there, and the white of the snow below, and the white of the thing that's up on the roof, I think once the whites get in there, the pink will be fine. I'm going to stitch on this winter. I really want to get it done. She's been in here. I started her last, let's see, January 15th of 2021. It's time. It's time to finish her. This is in a bag that I made with wonderful fabric from our Joann that's no longer open. So I can't get any more of this, but I bought like a bolt of it. So I have some more. I don't have as much of this beautiful bluish, aqua-ish snow flake one. I don't have a whole lot of that. And this was one of my prototypes of my flannel floss friend. And again, it's got flannel on the inside, so your thread sticks to it, and you just fold it up and away you go. So the pink that I'm using is 225. That's what it is, 225. DMC 225. There we go. Okay, so that, I want to get that done. There's no excuse. This winter, this will be done, mark my words. And I'm going to be doing more floss tubes more often, so you guys can hold me to it, okay? Here's another bag. This one has a handle on it, made with that same fabric. This one, oh, this is the second one I made. This one has 3 snaps on it. Again, it's got a little zipper part, flannel, or not flannel, vinyl, and then this is flannel, and your floss will stick to it. Like if you've got little bundles of floss and you're working and changing color, you just put it there, whoop, boom, 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 fold it up, and away you go. Anyway, this one, I want to get this done as well. This one is a Brenda Gervais, and it's the Winter's Day Visit stocking. I wasn't going to make it into a stocking, but I've seen somebody recently finish it, and it's so cute. So I'm going to do that, and I'm stitching this. It felt like I dropped something, but I don't see it. This is on a, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Walratha linen, 40 count, and I believe this is a, Fox and Rabbit, and it's a pinkish color. So that's where I am so far, and I love it because the white pops on it. And I think I'm using all the called for. That's either DMC 5200 or Weeks Dye Works whitewash, because I have both of those in my little thing. So I need to really get back to that and get that one wrapped up and done and made into a stocking. Again, this is what it looks like. It's so cute. So I want to get that done. Another winter project for the long winter days in Michigan. Here's another really cute, quick little Stitching with the Housewives. You can't see it from here, but excuse me while I stand up. This is a previous finish. That was an old spool. This is a previous finish that I did, and it's dusty. This was on the 28 count black Monaco that I dyed. And I put this, I found this at a Rite Aid of all places that winter. So I thought, oh, that's cute. And so now I want to do the winter one with the Suburban with the wood grain panel. They have the little snowman on it so that, you know, it goes with this. So anyway, I started this. This is a deep navy blue 28 count Monaco that I dyed, and I got just that. This looks black, but trust me, it's navy blue. It's very dark navy blue. So cute. So there's that, another winter stitch. I got this, I think I purchased this at the Jingle Ball as well. And this was the freebie that the Primrose Girls offered in their secret, not secret shop, but in the Jingle Ball shop. And it's a cute little winter stitch. So I'm going to stitch that one up to go in my winter display. But they also had winter rules. And you can make those in all in one, or you can make them in little pillows. I love this Catch Snowflakes. That's so cute. And look, my little finger looks like a little snowflake. Anyway, this one is one I got, and I got the, I purchased the kit that goes with it, with the floss. And then Fox and Rabbit had a 46 count salt bush that I got to do it. I think I'm gonna do it all in one piece, like I've been doing the other rules. from them. They also have a Free Stitch Friday that Lindsay puts together a little pattern, and it's free. And then they'll sell the floss or a little finishing kit or whatever. If you want to get that on their website, they sell the finishing kits and the floss pack prior to you knowing what it is, so you kind of get an idea. So they just released the Free Stitch Friday for this month, and it's a Valentine's theme. So it's kind of like the Quaker, sweetly sayings, and so it's so cute. So I pulled a bunch of floss. Actually, it's the same floss that I used on this, the turquoises and the reds, and I'm going to stitch it just like on this same pink with these colors. And that's what I'm going to use to stitch this. So it'll have more of the teal than the blue. So that is that. And in this bag, this is another bag I made that has a handle on it. It's Valentine's. It's got all sorts of Valentine patterns in here. A couple other of theirs that I had never done. They're little tiny postage stamp ones. I have a bunch of different teals and reds and a couple greens. I also in here have Brenda Gervais love notes. I've done this one and I've done this one. So I think I'm going to do the other three and have them as pillows on my, here's another Stitching with the Housewives, because I love coffee, so I'm going to stitch up the coffee. So there's just a whole bunch of little Valentine ones in here that I thought would be cute to stitch up. So I grabbed that out. So I'm going to be working on some of those. Okay, really quick now, let's go through the patriotic ones that I want to get back on. This, I won't even take it out of the package because you can see it. This is the Stitch for Sweet Freedom by Stephanie at Lindy Stitches. And this is how far I got, again, on a 40 count Diversity by Mystic Fabrics. And whoopsie, that's what I have done in another bag that I made. So that's one of the patriotics that I want to work on. Here's another one. I started this in Memorial Day. It is number 48, and it's on a 46 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim because I have that written on my tag. Number 48, I have my computer and my Excel spreadsheet right over here in front of me. This is a Plum Street. Oh, wait. No. This should be 49, evidently. The numbers are off. Anyway, it's One Nation Under God by Twin Peak Primitives. Here's the pattern. Hold, please. Okay. Sorry about that interruption. You probably didn't even notice it because I'll splice it in, but I had somebody at my door and the dogs went crazy. Okay, so I'm showing patriotic stitches that I'm going to work on this year. I won't finish them all, obviously, but I'm going to work on it. The next one is One Nation by Twin Peak Primitives. Very, very beautiful. Stitched by Chrissy Morgan of Finally a Farm Girl. She stitched the model, and it says, inspired, stitched, and finished by Chrissy Morgan at Finally a Farm Girl. I believe she has the model of this hanging on her wall in her living room. I think so. I think so. Maybe. Anyway, this one I started, let me consult with my Excel spreadsheet here. This one I started May 30th of 2022. So I think it was Memorial Weekend in 22. I started it with Misty of Two Needles Pulling Thread. And I don't know if she's kept up with it. I think she might have started over or just put it away. I don't know. I haven't seen it on her. I haven't seen her talk about it in a while, so I'm not sure. Anyway, this is how far I got. I did start it over. I was stitching it on a 36 count, and this is the one that really, excuse me, that really made me realize I do not like 36 count. So I started it over. I'm stitching it now on a piece of 46 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim. I'm using all the called for weeks die works, and this is how far I've gotten. So I want to get back to stitching that this year and get a lot more progress on it because it's beautiful. And here's another one of the project bags that I made when I started making them, the vinyl front ones. I still make vinyl front ones, but most of what I make now are the fabric ones that are fully lined, because that seems to be what sells when I go and sell at a retreat as a vendor. They buy most of my flannel one or fabric lined ones. So I have had people reach out to me through Etsy and say, hey, I really like that fabric. Do you make one in a vinyl? And I'll go ahead and make vinyl and then post them on my Etsy. But typically most of what I do right now are the fabric ones. But if you want something in a vinyl front, I will do that. Here's another vinyl front bag that I did. This one I started in 22 as well. Excuse me. Another one of my cute bags with the fabric from Joann's. This is another patriotic one I started that same year. I started this one on the 4th of July. And this is Leela Studio Let Freedom Ring. I know you guys have all seen this. I love this so much. And it really makes me mad that I don't do more with it. I don't stitch on it as much. So that one is on a 40 count colonial parchment. And it says Pitch of This Plus, but that's not Pitch of This Plus. That is Fabrics by Stephanie. So while we're sitting here, I'm just going to make that change. I don't know why it said Pitch of This Plus, because that is not Pitch of This Plus. But this is how far I've gotten on Colonial Parchment by Fabrics by Stephanie. I really enjoy her fabrics. And I got a long way to go. But I love the colors. I've seen this model in her Leela's room at Market, and it's so beautiful. And so I was like, okay, I am stitching that one, because oh god, it's so beautiful. And I haven't stitched on this in a very long time. I don't think I stitched on it at all this year. So I'm going to stitch mostly patriotic for the rest of the summer. The rest of the year. And I got a little note from Leela. And it was just, she was the sweetest. And I was asking her a lot of questions as I stood there in her room at Market about it. And once you see the model, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. So I cannot wait to get going on that. And again, that's Let Freedom Ring by Leela Studio. Another patriotic. This one I started, America the Beautiful. This is Stitching with the Housewives. Here's the pattern. I have a frame that is almost identical to that. That's just waiting for me to finish. This model here is stitched on a black, so it's like a chalkboard. I don't know if you've ever watched Priscilla of Stitching with the Housewives, her home tours. She has this big, huge chalkboard, and she does art on there. And so that's the inspiration for a lot of her larger pieces of the cross stitch, not as opposed to the little tiny ones that she does all the time. Her larger pieces are inspired by her chalkboard art that she has on the chalkboard that's like in her kitchen and dining room area. So this is America the Beautiful. So I decided I was gonna dye some navy blue and stitch it on navy blue. And so here's where I'm at so far. Now, again, this looks black, but when you back it up and I put it against my black shirt, it is a deep, dark navy blue. This camera, the lighting in here is making it look more black, but I see it as blue when you look at it here. It's dark blue. So I got a long way to go. It's in another bag that I made, and this is another Lori Holt cookbook fabric. When I was just starting out messing around with patchwork bags. So that is America the Beautiful, Stitching with the Housewives. Here's another one that I've been stitching, and I restarted this like 3 or 4 times. Again, I had it on a, excuse me, oh, that cough will not go away. I had it on a 36 count, so I had to restart it. Then I didn't like the colors on the 40 count. So I restarted again, I think 3 times. Here's another patriotic vinyl front bag. When I used to make the vinyl front ones, there's my tag. So there is the next one. This is a Plum Street, and you've seen this many, 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 many times. It's Liberty's Welcome. I love it. I may be changing the color of the house. And there's some of the colors. I will probably do it in this like steel light gray-ish house rather than the stark white. I think. I don't know. This is being stitched on, let's see. What number we got here? This one I started a long time ago because it's number 15. I started this on, whoa, this was in May 15th of 2021. And I'm doing it now on a 40 count fog by Pitch of This Plus. And it's a big girl. So I wanted to make sure I had enough room down below. So I brought as much down as I could and counted and counted and counted and counted. And this is going to be the bottom corner of the border. I don't have all the flowers on there, obviously, but that's the bottom corner. So I've got enough room this way. Now I'll probably start, oopsie, I will probably do more going across the top to make sure I've got enough room this way. I'm pretty sure I do. But this is where I'm at. And this is a 40 count 40 count fog by Pitch of This Plus, and I'm doing it 1/2, and I love it. It's turning out much better than 1 on a 36 count. And that was not getting it for me. But this is still folded up from when I had it last year on the WIP Parade. So, I need to start stitching on these patriotic ones this summer. And get them going and see how many I can get done by the 4th of July. How's that for a goal? That's a good goal, huh? Okay. This is one that I restarted. And you guys all know this. Again, I'm stitching on now that yard of bungalow, 46 count bungalow that I bought. And this is, and I asked people on my last floss tube, 2 floss tubes ago, when I was starting these over, I went through the comments and people, whoever the first ones were that said, yeah, I'll take it. I have it all written down. I have addresses all made. I just haven't put this stuff in the mail. So, it is still coming. Whoever wanted to take the one that I started, it is still coming to you in the mail. And I don't know off the top of my head who it is. I have a whole stack of things that are going to go out in the mail. So here is Land That I Love by our girl Teresa Koget. And I restarted it on that 46 count bungalow. And this is where it is. And I'm going to love it. It's going to turn out so cute. I love how the colors are popping on this. I love this bungalow fabric. It was, I got it at Market, and I'm gonna try to design at some point, but I just love this. The white shows up enough. I'm thinking I won't have to change my white. It's kind of blurry, but see the white? I think it shows up enough. There's a lot. By the time I get to where some more of the white is, we'll see. I might opt for a brighter white. I forget what white I'm using on this, but I can tell you it's either bamboo. I think I might have switched to bamboo because it was 712, and 712 you can barely see it. So I think I might have switched it to a bamboo because that's not a color that Teresa usually uses. So if this isn't, I'll try maybe B5200 or the Anchor white because I want that white to pop. So, but this is how far I am on my restart of Land That I Love, and I want to get a lot of this going so I have it and can make a serious progress in this year on this as well. And this is in one of the bags, a huge bag that I keep a lot of patriotic projects from Teresa in here. The book is not in here now, but this is fully lined with her fabric. Typically, I don't put fabric from the fabric line on the inside because I would rather save this fabric and use it on the outside so people can enjoy it than waste it inside a fabric bag and nobody's gonna see it. So usually I use some off solid of not part of the line. I don't use the fabric from the fabric line on the inside. I use the inexpensive stuff I can get at Hobby Lobby, white on white, something just plain on the inside of a bag rather than wasting the beautiful fabric that Teresa designed on the inside of a bag, you know. This is the same thing as on the outside. So anyway, and I got huge patches here, which usually I do the smaller ones, but these were the 5-inch squares. So anyway, that is the last one of the patriotic ones I have out that I'm going to be working on. And my notes are not here anymore, so the other thing I was going to talk about are all the things, okay? So I have jumped into the quilting thing because you know, I already know I make the project bags. Well, I went to the quilting retreat that's put on by Happy Little Stitch Shop, Angela. Hi, Angela. And so part of the activities that we do, part of there is we have a block exchange. So everybody makes a block, and then you get like a buddy, a Secret Santa type thing, but it's your buddy, and you give little gifts, and then you exchange a quilt block. Well, this was the quilt block that I got from my girl Dawn. Hi, Dawn! Here's my, this block is beautiful, and these are all Lori Holt fabrics. So the corner of the block happened to be this fabric, and I'm like, I have some of that. So I continued it on, and I put a strip on the top and the bottom and both sides, and then I put a zipper at the top, and I used more Lori Holt fabric on the back, and I made it into this big old bag. And inside, I have a lot of Lori Holt patterns, cross-stitch patterns. I have flea market flowers, and I have autumn love, and you are the boss of your own quilt, and vintage housewives. So I have a whole bunch of Lori's patterns that I'm not in any hurry to do, but I just keep them all in here so I know where they are. This one I do want to make and hang in my sewing room. I think this is so cool. So I've got the Aura Floss. I'm going to do it on a 40 count piece of 40 count bramble from Picture This Plus. And I pulled out, this is another cute little bag from Dawn. I pulled out Aura Floss. And so the Aura Floss that goes for that pattern, I have in this little bag. And so I'm going to do that big old sewing machine and then hang it in my sewing room on the wall. So that's what's in this old big old bag. So this last year, the first year I went to the retreat, I started an applique, a quilt, and I'd never done a quilt before, a whole quilt top, and I had never done applique. Now, I have made smaller ones. I made that, in some of my previous videos. There's a quilt that hangs behind me that I've talked about, and it's the patriotic one that hangs over another window across the way. I have made table runners. There's 2 different table runners that I have that I've made that need to be finished and the bindings put on. But I also got this pattern from Angela at the Happy Little Stitch Shop, and it's called Brightly. And it looks so complicated, but it's really not, because all you do is you make a block like this, a lot of blocks like that, and then you make another block like this, and then once you hook them together, it makes the pattern look like this. So like, here's a block, and then here's the other block. And then as you put them together and you put them opposite, it makes the chains. It's so cool. So I have about 18 of these blocks done, and I only have maybe about 10 of these blocks done, but I'm almost ready to put them together. And this is the fabric line called Snowed In by Melissa Peterson of Riley Blake, and I cannot wait to get it done. So that's my second quilt top that I'm working on. Now my very first one, like I said, I'd never done applique before, so I was working on an applique on the applique pieces, those blocks. And I finished the chickens that year. And so this year, I finished the top, and I took it to the retreat, and I will put a picture so you can see it. But this is my, oopsie, it's upside down. Let's do, here we go. This is my chicken salad quilt. And there's 12 different applique chickens, okay? Some of them have little babies. Some of them do not. They're sitting on eggs. They all have names. They're so cute. Well, I went to this retreat. I took my finished top to show and tell. And hi, Chris, if you're watching. I met a gal there who does the quilting, long arming. And she quilted it and makes it look like chicken wire. The way it's quilted. It is so cool. So all I need to do now, which I should have had it done by now, is, oh, here it is. This is the binding. So I'll make these strips and I'll sew this, and this is the binding. And when you put the binding on, Lori has a method where you add this wide rickrack in between. So it'll be like, this will fold over like yay. When you sew it on, and then this goes underneath so that there's a little bit of the zigzag, the rickrack sticking out when you quilt it down. So it'll be like that all the way down. It's kind of hard to hold up and show you, but you get the idea. So that binding needs to be done, and then my very first quilt will be all done. Oh, I need to put their eyes back on. I had to take the eyes off because they're little buttons, Lori Holt little buttons. I had to take them all off before Chris could put this on her long arm machine because we didn't want it to be all messed up. Here's a different chickie. There's 12 different chickens. And they're all different, and they all have really cute fabric, and this is Lori Holt's cookbook fabric. And look at that beautiful long arm quilting. I cannot wait. Cannot wait to get this done and use it and love on it, and I just think it's so cute. A long time ago. It was over a year ago, because a year ago today was my 4 hour and 40-minute WIP parade. The one before that, I talked about fall whips, and I don't even remember what month I did that in, but I had 2 giveaways. One of them was a bag that was, and you'll have to go back to that video. It is Flosstube number 23. And one of them, the word was pumpkin, and the other one, the word was blackbird. And the pumpkin bag was black, and it had a pinkish with a witch and pumpkins on it, and it had black rickrack, and it's really cute. Well, the person, and I took a screenshot, I used the random YouTube random comment picker thingy, and the person who won, the person who won that pumpkin bag, and I don't know your name, Nanette, maybe? Nanette McDougall Dykes, 9339. Can you see that? It's kind of blurry. Oh. It's kind of blurry. The light situation is not good. But I will post a picture of it at the end. Okay, and then the other bag was Blackbird Design fabric. And I don't think I have one here, but it was a patchwork. You can go back to the very end of Flosstube number 23. And the person that won that is, oh, can you see it? CCOCKRUM 59. CCOCKRUM 59. And you're the winner of that. So, the winners need to email stitchingwithgrammy@gmail.com. And when I send out all that other stuff, I will send those bags out to you as soon as I get your address. Now, let me address something before we go on to the new giveaways. Okay? And this was an issue. This has been an issue for a very long time. I had a person who won who did not live in the United States. And I mailed a bag, a prize, to this person, and they never received their thing. I don't have it here. It went out. We can't find it. No one knows where it is. It got lost between here and across the pond. These are giveaways, okay? That we are going to say U.S. residents only. You've got to be 18 years old because I have to have your address. You need to be in the United States only, and I apologize to all of our listeners, watchers, whatever, around the world, but because projects or items are being lost in the mail when it goes overseas, I apologize. I know a lot of Flosstubers that give away items they're narrowing it down just to the United States, and I apologize that I have to do that as well. So, U.S. only, 18 years old, make sure you're a subscriber to my channel, and now there's a way that we can really find out who's a subscriber and who's not. If you open up the YouTube on a computer rather than like a phone or whatever, it's a lot easier. So I need you to be a subscriber to the channel. Say the word that I'm going to ask you to say. We'll do the comment picker just like we did on the other ones. And be in the United States. Okay? Sorry we have to do that. But here are the two project bags that I am going to be giving away this time. And I promise it won't be a year and a half before I do another one. Okay? So the first bag, we're going to use the word snow. And this is the bag, and the back looks like the top band, the top up here. And then on the inside, like I said earlier, I don't like to put nice fabric. I mean, it's nice. It's not unnice fabric. It's just not the fabric line that costs a lot more money. So here's a white on white snowflake, if you can see it. There we go. The white on white. Looks like snowflakes. Anyway, that's on the inside. All of my bags that I sell on my Etsy and I give away, they all have one of these little lobster claps things, so you can hang a pair of scissors so it doesn't poke a hole in your bag. Or you can, if you drop your flosses on floss drops and on a ring, you can hook those on there so your flosses aren't dragged down in the bottom of the bag. So, the first one, and we're going to use the word snow. Isn't that cute? Okay, the second one, let's use the word flower. This is a Blackbird Design flower. And there's more flowers on the back. And the inside of this one, this is part of the fabric line. This one is part of the Blackbird Design fabric line. So, flower and snow are the two keywords that you're going to use to win these 2 bags. And on my next Flosstube, we'll draw winners for those. So, I think that's all I have today for you. And this has not been 4 hours. Probably about half of that, maybe a little less, who knows. By the time I splice these videos together, because I had to pause a few times. And I'll do some editing and I'll get this posted 1 year from my last Flosstube. But if you want to join us for the study, please do so. Keep watch for, I'll post more information about that on my Instagram at Stitching with Grammy. And it also posts on my on my Facebook page, which is just Barbara Kreischer Johns is my Facebook page. And then I also have a Stitching with Grammy TikTok that I'll post more information about it there too. So if you do want to join us, I will put the link for the resources below. You can join us, and then we'll be on a different platform or whatever, not in my Flosstube. Okay, so thank you so much. Get together with a group of friends, go out and stitch, and I hope you all enjoy 2026. My mantra for this year is to be happy, healthy, and holy. Not holier than thou, but I'm going to get into the word. So happy, healthy, holy 2026. So all of you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.